Get ready to improve your mindset, increase your skill set, and expand your network. Follow along as the CEO of Master Networks brings you over a decade of business networking experience. Welcome to Word of Mouth with Chaz Wilson. Summer Series featuring the Master Networks HQ staff.
Interesting time we're in right now is there's a lot of discussion about potential lockdowns again.
Oh, I know. I heard something yesterday over it.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy?
Forward to it.
Yeah. So lots of potential lockdowns coming they're talking about again. First of all, I think that's a mistake for the economy, for one. But we'll get into that. What an opportunity it is for people right now, especially skilled laborers.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk more about that, and the power of having a large network so that you can either grow your business or look for business opportunities. And on today's episode, our guest is someone who's experienced that themselves. I want to welcome Veronica Short to our episode of Connection Prosper. That's good. That's a good
throwback.
Yeah, throwback to Word of Mouth. On this episode of Word of Mouth. Veronica, welcome.
Hey, Veronica.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, so let's just take you back on your journey as part of Master Networks and the things that you experienced, because I think it's important for people to understand why being part of a network is so crucial to business growth. So tell us how you got introduced to Master Networks.
Sure. So I was working for another company in the financial institution world, and basically when I got hired, they told me that I needed to go out and network to build my book of business. And I was introduced to Master Networks and started attending meetings, saw the benefit of it, and actually joined 3 chapters here in Missouri.
Oh, wow. 3?
Yes.
Oh, she's an
I didn't know
overachiever. Yeah, she's an overachiever. So when they said go out and network, did you immediately know what that meant, to like go join Master Networks? I mean, because you said these sort of like matter of factly, hey, I just went out and joined Master Networks.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of business owners aren't even sure when someone tells them, or an employee, they say go network. Did you already know what that meant?
No. And I have to say that is one thing that I have learned from Master Networks is, in the past, I thought just taking business cards and going to different networking events meant that I was networking or that I was collecting business cards from other people. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is that truly building relationships is more about building long-term customers as opposed to just one-time transactional customers.
We'll get to what you're doing now, but the question I have for you is, I mean, how do you do that? Like, people say, well, like, what's different then? Why can't I just do that on my own? Why would I need to join like a formal networking group to do that? Couldn't I just do that on my own?
You could do it on your own, but I don't know that people really will. I think most people go out and they meet people, but then they don't build long-lasting relationships. It sounds good in theory. I mean, some of us have problems just blocking our calendars and sticking to our calendars, right? So to actually have a weekly meeting that you're participating in, and then also being kind of told, let's do some face-to-faces, get to know people outside of your chapter meetings, that it's on a weekly basis. Now you're thinking about it and you're actually building long-term relationships with people. They actually become like part of your family, or your tribe, I guess.
And wouldn't you agree that, like, when you have something you're accountable to, you treat it differently?
Oh, absolutely. I think what she said earlier was a really good point, too, about people who have an issue time blocking.
Yeah.
They have this weekly thing set. They don't have to plan on it. It's not like you're going out by yourself setting meetings. You attend it regularly. I think that's
right.
hugely helpful.
Like, I even noticed, so I'm part of like two gyms. One is just open anytime. I can go. I can kind of, when it works for me. And then the other ones are specific classes. And the interesting part is the one with the specific classes is the one, like, there's a certain level of accountability to that. So same with networking, right? If knowing that there's a weekly chapter meeting that I've committed to being a part of, to your point, Veronica, holds me accountable to going out and doing the activities of networking. The activities aren't hard. It's just most people aren't intentional. And what do you guys think about this? I think my personal opinion is sometimes people don't network because they don't see the return on it right away, right? And so they just don't do it. They don't see the value of networking.
I gotcha.
So, Veronica, what was that return like for you over time?
Prior to becoming a success coach, the return was kind of on me as well. So the onus fell on me to actually go out and do face-to-faces with people and get to know people. So I think individuals that come into a meeting and they just have the assumption that because I'm sitting in this seat, people automatically have to give me business is not a true scenario. And I truly feel like you have to kind of play that part as well and get to know people outside of that room. So set up a coffee or set up a lunch, something to get to know them on a personal level. And then people will trust you and want to do business with you.
So more than just the every day or every week at the meeting. It's
Yeah.
more than that.
You're just making friends.
Right. Well, for some that's easy, right?
Yeah.
You say, "Oh, we're just making friends." But I think for a lot of business owners, the myth that they're all extroverts. We've talked about
We
that
have
on
talked
past
about this,
episodes,
yeah.
right? That we had Ashley on here. We talked about being an extrovert and an introvert. So you mentioned a success coach. Tell us about that. What does that mean? And for those listening, how did that happen?
Sure. So, obviously, with being in 3 chapters, I saw the benefit of networking. And when the opportunity became available to be a success coach with Master Networks, I applied and was hired. And what that means for most people is I get to set up chapters across the nation now, predominantly in the Central and the Eastern time zone. But it's really a way to give people that want to set up a networking organization sort of that structure. So they can say they want to set up a chapter, but what does that structure look like to get it to the number 15 or the number 25 that they're kind of striving to have a launched chapter? And we just give them the guidance on how to make that happen.
So you were a member. I mean, this is the evolution of it's kind of cool, right? You're a member, 3 chapters, committed to it. Then you saw the opportunity that we were looking for people who could help others launch chapters. You had done that successfully. So you came to the table, long story short, interview process, etc. And you're now full-time with Master Networks helping people launch chapters. So I'm listening to this and I'm somewhere, wherever, doesn't matter. Pick a location, right? I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, and I want to start a chapter, right? Or I want to network. What's the benefit of launching a chapter versus just joining something that already exists?
So I think when you launch a chapter, you're getting in at the foundation. So you truly are building those strong relationships from the ground up, as opposed to walking into an organization that's already kind of established and people have already built relationships. So when you're at the ground level, you're building those relationships and having a stronger return on investment because people are doing business with you because you kind of started that.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to put Elizabeth on the spot here.
Oh, gosh. Oh, no.
So if you were starting, well, let me ask you, if you were starting a chapter yourself, okay, so you put yourself in the shoes, like right now here, you have to go start a chapter here locally. What do you think the biggest concern is you would have? Like, because you got a network, right? You own your own business, you're out there, you got a network. What's the biggest concern you would have right now?
I don't know anybody.
Okay,
I don't have anybody to connect with at the moment.
People relocate, right? They move to a new, I started a business. I was brand new in an area, so you don't know anybody. So what does Elizabeth do if she doesn't know anybody?
So now she's a member of Master Networks. She basically has access to over 3,000 people that are already part of Master Networks. Utilize the hub, which is the system that we use that has all the members already across the nation. So you can reach out to individuals and basically try to get people within your area by asking some of the people in those other areas.
So just so I understand, but let me ask just so I understand. So Elizabeth you would go in the hub, which is our back end office that you can get into and look up a member directory. So what you're saying is she would reach out to other members who may know people in her area.
Yes.
I mean, right there, you've got a built-in network of 3,000 people that could help you grow your new chapter.
I always tell people to start there, right? You've already got a tribe kind of established by becoming a member of Master Networks. There's people that have already seen the benefit of it in their area, and they want to help build chapters in other areas. In addition to that, then I would say go out and then attend some other kind of networking organizations that are going on too, and try to meet people in some of those other networking groups too. So the one thing that I try to teach a lot of the chapters that I'm doing right now is we have more of an abundance mindset. So we encourage people to go out to other meetings and talk to other people and bring people back to your meetings that can help the people that are in your chapter.
So what do you think about the future with the economy? And we started this episode talking about maybe upcoming lockdowns again, more mandates. I just saw today they're talking about more mandates in New York City. If you even want to go to a restaurant, you have to be vaccinated. How that's going to impact. How does networking and how could you utilize networking, do you both think, right now with what's coming in the future?
I tell people all the time, having the ability to do Zoom. So with us setting up Zoom meetings as success coaches, it gives people the ability to keep their doors open. So I think COVID hit a lot of people very hard. And throughout COVID, having those Zoom meetings still going on, it gave people the ability to stay in business. And they still were networking and they were still doing business. And even to this day, a lot of the chapters have went back in person, but there's still a lot of Zoom meetings going on. And a lot of the members are doing business in states that they would have never done business in before, because now they have that ability to log in and be on a Zoom call and solicit people in other states. And even the relationships that are being built. So like when we all get together at Connect at the end of the season, like we are meeting people on Zoom and we actually get to meet them in person. So friendships, relationships are all being built just because of Zoom. So I think it's very beneficial because a lot of people are scared. They're not sure if they're going to be able to keep their doors open, but because of the ability of having Zoom and doing these meetings, they don't have to worry about that. There's business out there to be had, and we're keeping people in business.
That's actually the first thing my mind went to as well, was Connect. I remember this past year, in 2021, the amount of people there that were meeting for the first time, but they were talking already through Zoom. So when you asked that question, the very first thing I thought was the business across the country to connect with people coast to coast.
I think the other thing, if I owned a business right now, especially if I was in like the physical labor trades, skilled work right now, I mean, I've got work I'm trying to have done at my house, and there's masonry work that they need to have done, and the general contractor's on their fourth masonry company to try to get there to do the job.
No.
Because all of them are, and with new rollouts with these child care credits that have just come out, people are like, oh, I have 3 kids, I'm getting X amount of dollars plus unemployment. It's just as much to stay home as it is to go work. If I was in these physical labored trades where, yeah, you need some skill set, but a lot of it's just manual labor work, I would be out at chapters. I would join and I would try to get out to, I know people are backed up with work. I'd find an hour or 2 hours a week to get out to chapters and start letting people know I'm in need of help. I'm in need of, who do you have who's unemployed? Who do you know that's underemployed? I'm paying bonuses right now just to keep, because the reality is if you could get the work and the supplies to do it, you could stand out right now. And anyone, by the way, who's also not working, this is a tremendous opportunity to advance your career, because especially if you're in those kinds of trades and fields, because people aren't showing up for work and they're quitting and they're not doing the job. And so your opportunity is huge right now. I just talked to a guy this morning who's a roofer, and he's like, half my crew quit 3 months ago because they can make more money right now not working or close to, and they like the lifestyle than be in the Texas heat on a roof. He's like, so I'm paying bonuses, I'm paying opportunities. Like, that's the thing as a business owner, is casting that network to people to create opportunities is huge.
I hadn't even thought about utilizing the network that way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Every chapter meeting that I'm running, the sound bites that they do, and they stand up and give their name and their company, I would say every single trade, the comment that I'm getting is, we are hiring. If you know anybody looking for a job, we're hiring. And due to the economy and things that have happened, right, people are making more money just sitting at home than they are actually working. And it's causing a lot of problems for business owners.
I mean, we're talking about, it's word of mouth. I mean, you use the word of mouth for your network. If, again, I've got, my son graduated high school, and we're talking about this, the skilled trades. Yes, a lot of them you need to go to school. But in the past, there's lots of trades companies that wouldn't even hire you right now without that background and experience. And right now, they'll take anyone they can get to help. And think about the on-the-job learning you could have right now in the skilled trades, manual labor kind of trades that are becoming a lost art and high-paid careers right now. So there's one way to use a network. Veronica, to wrap, somebody again listening to this who's like thinking, hey, what's the value of why I should join a network, specifically Master Networks, to help grow and scale my business?
building those strong relationships that are going to be long-lasting relationships, so where you're doing business with people on longevity. I think the education that you get for a lot of business owners, they go into business and they're great at whatever they do. Maybe you're a painter and you're phenomenal at being a painter, but all the education that you get on how to run your business, how to help you with the different things and perspective in your business. And I think, and above and beyond that, is the things that we do to give back to the community, right? So for every chapter out there, we are constantly looking for opportunities on how can we help businesses and how can we help them stay open.
I'd agree. I think it's a community of business owners coming together to help each other. Like you said, relationships and education are so key and crucial. And as business owners, we don't take the time to build either. Like, we just don't. It's like always doing the job, doing the job, doing the job. We don't ever stop to say, how do I grow? How do I build myself as a business owner and improve that education?
Even this week, right, we ask people to invite people to chapter meetings, or we ask people to go out and network, and nobody really teaches that. And that's one of the biggest things that I've seen probably in the last month, is watching that light bulb go off when I'm trying to teach people, what does the script even look like? What do you say to people? And that right there, even learning how to say their soundbite or their elevator speech, as I call it, so that it kind of rolls off the tongue. And when they're out talking to clients or prospectives, they know it, right? They're practicing it on a weekly basis with people that they truly know, like, and trust. They give crucial feedback to basically help them in that soundbite. And yeah, it's just so neat to see the smiles on their face and like the confidence change in just a month on how they now can say, yep, I went out and I got business, or I went out and did this because. So.
And if you have those skills, if you understand that skill, it's just like any muscle you've worked over time, you're not going to ever really struggle for business. I mean, it might be it might be a struggle, but you'll know how to do it, and you'll set yourself up for success.
If there was a tropical island made just for you, what would you find on it?
That is weird. Veronica, as our guest, you get to go first.
I would say, because I am such an extrovert, I would need people. Like, I would need to have a lot of people there, just because I love to talk to people. And
Party Island.
She'd start her own chapter on that island, guaranteed.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, the only things coming to mind at first were jokes, and not taking the question seriously. But it's gonna sound ridiculous, but I think it would just be just like a huge library, all indoors, like nothing outdoors. It wouldn't even need to be on an island, but it'd just be a giant library, and it would probably have a fully stocked bar at the same time.
I was gonna say books. But not inside. If I'm on the beach, I want to read.
I would like maybe a library with like a giant window, but it's air conditioned. It was an honest answer.
You're on an island and you want to be in a library.
I'm on an island and I want to be indoors looking at the island.
There's so many things wrong with it. So yes, if I was on my own tropical island, I agree with Veronica that people, it doesn't matter how cool it is if nobody's there with you. But after the island, people on the island, I think you have people, then you have food. I would want my own endless sushi buffet.
Yes, sushi and fruit.
Yeah, there you go. See, sushi and fruit, I could just live on that. Maybe cookies once in a while, but sushi, fruit, and cookies, that sounds terrible, actually.
That sounds awful.
That sounds terrible. But yes, I'm a simple person. Yeah, friends and food, that's it. I'm simple.
Oh no, I feel so lonely now.
No, you'll be in the library reading your book.
Yeah.
She'd be reading a book about being on an island.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Next week on Word of Mouth.
So I think there's one thing that really has always been around, and that's people wanting to be a part of something that's grander than just a paycheck, right? Like they want to come in and they don't want to just, check a box and leave.
So it's the attitude and then the skill set. The resume is the skill set. The attitude is how they show up.
Right.
And I think when you're interviewing, you've got to ask questions that get to what's the behavioral makeup and attitude mindset of this person, understanding the process of getting the role before the person. Know what role you're hiring to before you're out looking for that person. Otherwise, you just go, oh, this is a great person. Now I got to figure out what the role is.